Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 3. Yeah, it's episode 3, guys, of Tim Talks podcast. Very excited to be back. Hopefully, this one will be a good one. This time, we are completely sober, no drink, no drugs, no nothing. So, this one might be a little bit interesting, probably a bit more focused. And the only drugs I'll be taking have been caffeine this morning and sugar. So, that's that. So, cool beans. Anyways, let's get right into this one. What topics do we have to discuss for today's episode? Well, the first one I wanted to jump right into, and that was the trade which occurred in the NBA for my beloved team, the Denver Nuggets. And that was the move of Aaron Gordon from the Orlando Magic to the Denver Nuggets in exchange for RJ Hampton and Gary Harris. If you're not too familiar with NBA, don't worry, you guys, you can tune out for a few minutes. But basically, Gary Harris used to be a Nuggets player for quite a while, but he sort of deteriorated over time, so he left, and we got Aaron Gordon. But basically, if you're not familiar with the NBA, is basically there's a system where each team has a certain amount of money, has a certain amount of cap space, as it's called, where they can fill in players. They can either get them from free agency, which is when players are not under contract. They can get them from a thing called a draft, which is where NBA newbies to the league are brought in, or they can basically they're the two methods. But there's also a third method, which is a trade. See ya. And what the trade is basically... Sorry, I was just saying about someone there. The trade is basically where you take players of equivalent value from two different teams and swap them. And what happened here was this trade occurred between my team, Denver Nuggets, and another team in the league. And I believe this trade has benefited us for the time being, and maybe has given the other team future growth. Because usually what happens is a good team will want to get better, and a bad team might, give up their current success for future success, which is what Orlando are planning to do. So it's an interesting strategy from both sides. I think this is very much benefit to Denver at the moment, because he brings a new element to the team which hasn't really been seen since last year with Jeremy Grant. So I really appreciate that, to be honest. And yeah, so that's interesting. I really enjoy that. So hopefully this will be a good trade. Hopefully this will project Denver forward, give them a new dimension, and just, maybe take them to another level, which is the hope. So yeah, I'm really happy for that. And I'm looking forward to our future and seeing what happens. But again, I was kind of thinking, I could do like a sports element to the show. And I was thinking maybe just choosing maybe best player of every team in the NBA. So I thought that'd be a nice segment to do. Most of these will be pretty obvious, but I just want to talk about, some of my favorite NBA teams, favorite players, etc. So without further ado, we will start with the highest rated teams, working our way down. So number one, the best team currently is the Utah Jazz, and they're a very impressive team, and I think it's no brainer who their best player is. It is Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell has been an insane player. He's such a fun, powerful player who we saw match up against Jamal Murray last year in the playoffs. Great performance from both players, really. And I think Donovan Mitchell doesn't get enough credit of how great he was because Jamal Murray sort of took the limelight there. But also interesting was that he could have stayed at Denver Nuggets were it not for, our incompetence in little ways and our focus on Jamal Murray as a player. But imagine the two of them playing together. Would have been crazy. So yeah, definitely their best player. Number 2 is Philadelphia 76ers, who are ranked number 2 in the league. And their best player, in my opinion, well, actually most people's opinion, is Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid has been on fire this season, and he's been nominated for MVP. And really, he has proven he can score at an incredible rate. I think we already knew that, but I guess it's been emphasized this year. And also his ability to carry his team to a great record. There you go. Number 3 is Milwaukee Bucks. The 2-time MVP still reigns as their best player, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Remember when he jumped into the scene a couple of years ago and we were thinking, this guy is great, we love this guy. And then suddenly the hate started to appear, the hate train. Giannis is crap. Giannis can't do anything because of their sort of lackluster performance in the playoffs, shall we say. I still haven't fully convinced that Milwaukee and Giannis can't progress further in the playoffs, but it has been a little bit let down so far. See where they go from there. Number 4 is the Phoenix Suns. Bit of a surprise this season. We all saw them doing well last year. We didn't realize how well Chris Paul could gel even at his current age. He's just golden oldie. I would say Chris Paul is the best player, which is true, but there's one other player here who clearly is on a league of his own, and that is Devin Booker. Remember a couple of years ago when he had the 70-point game? Well, this player is on fire, and especially just like Jamal Murray, he does it in the clutch, he does it in the playoffs. Well, not the playoffs, but the play-in, where they win 7-0. I believe this is a clutch player, just like Jamal Murray, who can do it under pressure situations and probably even become a better player. He just seems like the player you want to have the ball in the hand. And Chris Paul, perfect partner. Number 5, the Brooklyn Nets. This was a super team assembled just this season, and it features Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. These are all 3 amazing players on their own, in each in their own circumstances, and it's a tough one choosing out who I think is the best player out of all 3 of these guys. James Harden averaging 25 points a season, 7 rebounds, 11 assists, which is just incredible, to be honest. Really, really powerful numbers. KD 29, 7 and 5, just slightly below James Harden's levels, and Kyrie averaging 28, 4 and 5. Out of these players, obviously I thought KD would be the best at the start of the season, but it feels like with his stats, James Harden is taking the brunt of the load. We all thought he was dead and buried when he was on the Houston Rockets, but he has clearly shown how great he can be, and I think that Brooklyn can do damage in the playoffs, especially with the injuries occurring in LA Lakers. Number 6 is the LA Clippers, and they have a lot of interesting players, a lot of players who may be disappointed this season in last year. The 2 contenders of best player will be Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Kawhi Leonard averaging 25, 6 and 5, while Paul George averaging, let me just check here, people, 22, 6 and 5. So I guess it'd be pretty obvious in saying that Kawhi Leonard just edges it in terms of best player, although Paul George has been having a great season. So I would, I would rate both of these players highly, but if I was going to go down to one of them, it would be Kawhi Leonard. Number 7 is LA Lakers, a team that shone early, but has kind of diminished slightly since then. Of course, it's LeBron James. I can't really argue with that. 25, 7 and 7, while AD, Anthony Davis, as we know, has been averaging only, sorry, I was looking at Caruso there, 25, 8 and 3, 22, 8 and 3. So obviously LeBron James probably should have been doing better with carrying his team up until the injury. I mean, he kind of is at the age where, it's just amazing that he's still playing at this rate. But I do feel like he still is the best player on the LA Lakers. And of course, he won them the championship, so he can't be overlooked. Next, we have number 8, Denver Nuggets. Another team which I've constantly raved about how great they are, maybe just underperforming slightly, but actually overperforming last year in the playoffs with Nikola Jokic. By far, in my opinion, he should win the MVP. I don't want to get into too much of a rant here. 27 points, 11 rebounds and 8 assists, nearly averaging a triple-double, getting various triple-doubles this season, at least 10 I think, matching the center record for triple-doubles, mind you, ever, all time, just to put that for you, and carrying the team. And as the Denver Nuggets improve as a team, as we move up the leadership, the Western Conference, we will show that he is the MVP. But at the moment, he's the MVP, but obviously no one else is realizing it. But we need to show people why he affects his team so much. Portland Trail Blazers at number 9, and their best player, well, it's up between Damian Lillard, who's averaging an incredible 30 points, 4 rebounds and 8 assists per game, which is just, it's just insane numbers, really. CJ's only averaging 23, 3 and 4, so clearly Dame Dollar is taking this team to another level. He just scored a game winner last night. He is probably the most underrated player in the NBA. He's just incredible. Watch him in the All-Star game, hit the game winner as well. He's the most clutch player I've seen in a while, and he's great. He's absolutely great. So Dame Dollar is not just one of the best players on this team, one of the best players in the NBA, and I'd even really throw him into the MVP conversation. The Dallas Mavericks have really underperformed this season, so it's hard for me to pick one. It was between Kristaps, who was 28 and 1, and also the newbie, one of probably the most hyped up players of all time. Not saying he's overhyped, but he is quite hyped with great numbers, to be honest. 29 points, 8 rebounds and 9 assists, quietly putting on a great season, but unfortunately I don't see him straddling to pull his team to the next level. Luka Doncic still is a great player, but I want to see more from him helping the team. Number 11 is the San Antonio Spurs. They have players, Jesus, this is a tough one. DeMar DeRozan, I think, opted out recently, 24 and 7. Okay numbers. LaMarcus Aldridge, 13, 4 and 1. So there are players in this team And to be honest, I haven't been watching this team an awful lot. So to pick a best player is quite hard. You could throw DeJounte Murray in there, etc., etc. But DeMar DeRozan, I suppose, he has to be their best player. If he wasn't, who could you even point at to be their best player? They're such a lackluster team and really a forgettable team from the time where they had Popovich. He's still there. I feel bad for the guy. When they had, Tim Duncan, LaMarcus Aldridge in his prime, when they had the likes of... You get the idea, though. They used to be a fire team. Kawhi Leonard, etc. Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. You know what I mean. You get the gist of it. But DeMar DeRozan still is a power player, but again, did they do in the playoffs? They did match up well to the Denver Nuggets, to be fair to them, but what have they done since? So yeah, that's that one. One of the more boring teams, although their record isn't too bad. Charlotte Hornets, more of an exciting team. Up next, of course, LaMelo Ball with 15, 6 and 6. It feels like he's been doing better than that, but of course, it's his first season in the NBA. Really proud of what he's done already, and yeah, he's just a great player to watch, which is, for my opinion, is the most important thing. Unfortunately, he did get injured recently, but he's still a great player, so respect the lad. Up next, number 13 is the Memphis Grizzlies. I don't know much about this team apart from this one guy, Ja Morant. Ja Morant is great player. He is so exciting, so explosive, and my favorite player to watch in the NBA. Beside Jokic, he is averaging 19 points, 3 rebounds, and 7 assists. Great numbers, and he's just a fresh, young, up-and-coming player. He's just the most explosive player in the NBA. I want to see this guy in the dunk contest. Why can't we see this guy in the dunk contest? I don't know. But he's so smooth, explosive. I don't know, I have no words. Watch highlights of this guy. He is great. Number 14, the New York Knicks. A bit of a surprise this season. They've sort of leveled out around the 500 area. And they have some interesting players on their team. Of course, there's RJ Barrett, averaging 17, 6 and 3. And people know all about him. And of course, there is the big man, the one and only Julius Randle with 23, 10 and 5. He has been their best player. He got into the NBA playoffs. This guy is incredible. He's a big man. He's a forward/center, but he can do all the things that he needs to do. Again, he kind of has been kind of a quiet career so far, in my opinion. But again, this has been a great season for him, and I'm really happy for him. Number 15 is Atlanta Hawks, and they have players, shall we say. They've kind of been an interesting team. Trae Young averaging 25, 4 and 9, which are mad numbers. And people still think he's crap. I don't understand the hate. I think it's the whole thing where he gets caught up in fouls and stuff. But come on, lads, he's still a great player. Don't overlook this guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he pulls him in at the 8th seed or something in the playoffs. I think they're actually currently in the playoffs right now as we speak. But what a player. The addition of Rajon Rondo, that'll be interesting. Actually, sorry, I believe Rajon Rondo got traded there, did he? Let me just double check that. Yeah, Rajon Rondo traded to the Clippers. Oh, that's interesting. I think that'll help the Clippers out big time. Let's see who got moved. Lou Williams to the Hawks. That'll be interesting. I think that's the win for the Clippers, but we'll see. Daniil Gallinari is also there, so he's an honourable shout, again, from his time at Denver. He's been an interesting season, but yeah, obviously, it's one and only Trae Young. And there's no really other player on their team. From John Collins, who's 18, 7 1, which is decent, but it's definitely not all-star elite level. Number 16, the Golden State Warriors. Oh, how hyped up they were years ago. They were the best team ever. Of course, they've suffered some pretty horrendous injuries, similar to what Liverpool suffered in the Premier League. And it's kind of hard to judge the team like this based off that. Of course, the two obvious candidates would be Steph Curry, 29, 5 and 6. At his level, was he 31 years old? Great numbers. You can see him being a consistent 20-plus point player for years to come, honestly. And of course, there's Draymond Green, who's been having an interesting season. You never know what with this guy. Is he really that good? It's hard to tell. James Wiseman, also, he's been having an okay season. 11 points, 5 rebounds. He was number 2 overall, and he's really kind of let down the ball, I think, in my opinion. Kelly Oubre is there. He's averaging 15-6. But yeah, I definitely would say Steph Curry. This is just a really interesting team, the Golden State. You don't even know where they are. They're not a rebuild team. They're not really a playoff contention team. I just don't know what the Golden State Warriors are. It's just like they're waiting for Klay Thompson comes back. By the time Klay Thompson comes back, I don't know. It won't be the same. Even if he's at a sliver of his previous level, I mean, they'll contend for the playoffs, sure, but they're just you can't see them going that far unless Steph Curry just goes an absolute roll. But you can't rely on Steph Curry now that he's in his 30s. I'm sorry, he can still be consistent, but he can't be a star player in the years to come, in my opinion. So I think Golden State might make a decision. Do we sell off some of our best players, or do we try and get new players to compete? I think maybe a little bit of a rebuild could be due course for Golden State. Yeah, and maybe start trying to tank again this season. Miami Heat, their best player, let's see, Bam Adebayo, how do you say that? 19 points, 9 rebounds and 5. He kind of popped on the scene recently. Obviously, due to the Heat's success in the playoffs, he's been one of the key factors. And yeah, he's just a great player to watch. He's such a scoring threat for his big man size. And then, of course, we have Jimmy Butler, who's a forward. Didn't realize he was a forward, thought he was a guard for some reason. 21, 8, and 8. Another big man, but he is a strong man. And his numbers are very much near the level of Bam, even probably slightly better. And just based on how much he's affected his team, brought them to a winning trajectory ever since he returned from injury this season, I've really got no other option but to say, you, man, are the best player on your team. Also, honorable mention Tyler Hero, who's having a great season as well. So next up, we have to look at number 18 is the Boston Celtics, who have having a very disappointing season so far, with the likes of Jaylen Brown, Taco Fall, honorable mention, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, and of course Kemba Walker. But who is their best player? They seem to have a lot of good players, but maybe no one player that I'd be like, this player is the best player of all time. Apart from Jason Tatum, 24 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. They're just some decent numbers, man. And he's just a clutch-ass player we've already seen this season. There's also Jaylen Brown, who's averaging similar numbers, 24, 5, and 4. Probably a little bit less of hype around Jaylen Brown, but he's averaging the same numbers. I don't understand. Maybe it's just because I guess you have seen Jason Tatum hit a few game winners there, which, again, they're going to up his stock a little bit. So definitely would say Tatum is their best player, and yeah, I just think that there's 2 really good players on that team, but not one amazing player, and that's why Boston haven't been doing too well. Indiana Pacers, though, let's have a look at this team. There's Malcolm Brogdon, 24, 4, and 6, some solid ass numbers. Justin Holiday, who cares about Justin Holiday? I don't know why I say his name. Karis LeVert, he's a player. He has been decent this season, but is he our best player? No, it is Domantas Sabonis, 20, 11, and 6. He's had a few good seasons, and I really like Indiana, but for some reason, maybe they just don't like the regular season, but they haven't been proving themselves so far. It's honestly interesting. I think they probably have room to grow. I'm just confused. Is someone injured or something at the moment? I don't know, because they should be doing much better. It's one of those teams where I'm so confused why they're not doing so well. TJ Warren, remember him last year? Absolutely incredible player. Now he's just 15, 3, and 1, which is good, but it's not anything excellent like it was that last year near the playoffs. And then, of course, there is Miles Turner. He's only 13, 6, and 1. So, I want to see some improvement on all levels here. Number 20 is the Sacramento Kings. Let's look at the roster and just bask in the glory that is De'Aaron Fox, 23, 3, and 7. Some solid ass numbers. And you know what? Great player. I think they're a really exciting team to watch. Sacramento, nice up and coming team. Lots of young stars. Tyrese Halliburton, shout out to him. And he's one of the nominees for Rookie of the Year. Hassan Whiteside, a nice old presence on the team. And yeah, just Rashawn Holmes. He's not bad. He's not a bad, solid player. But I think another one or 2 pieces, and they could become very, very exciting. So, yeah. Number 21, the Chicago Bulls. Let's see who they got on their team. By the way, it's been very exhausting doing all this, but hey, we'll do it. They have players such as Zach LaVine, 28, 5, and 5. They are good numbers. They're great numbers, even. One of the best dunkers of all time. Why was he not in the dunk contest? That's a real question I got in my mind. And they just added an excellent player, which is Vucevic. Which, I mean, who is better, Vucevic or Zach LaVine? Let's have a look at Vucevic and just check him out for a second, because I would have included him with the Orlando, but of course Orlando has been destroyed. He's got 25, 11, and 3. I think he's just narrowly behind, just on a similar level with Zach LaVine. If I would choose one of those 2 players, I'd probably choose Do you know what? I'd probably choose Vucevic. I get Zach LaVine's great now, but Vucevic is decent. And actually, Chicago got a very good deal for those two for Vucevic trade. So I really got to give it up for him as their best player, and we'll see how he gets on in Chicago. New Orleans Pelicans. You know, they had so much promise in the years past, but as it turns out, they are interesting and not great. Zion, though, he's one of those players that hasn't been talked about too much, but 25, 7 and 3, man, he is flying in New Orleans. The question is, can he elevate this team to the next level? I'm not too sure. Brandon Ingram has also been doing 24, 5 and 4. So I would say Zion is slightly better, just edges it a little bit. But obviously two incredible players, you know? And you got two solid players like that, it's like the sky's the limit. Why can't you do stuff, please? Maybe it's a guard they're missing. That's two forwards, so maybe they're a bit forward heavy. Maybe that's the problem. Lonzo Ball's there. He's okay. He's solid. People are saying, you know, ooh, Lonzo Ball, you know, starting to pick up the season. We'll see. I think he still needs to make a little bit of a step up. But there you go. Anyways, look at the next one. It is number 23, Oklahoma City Thunder. You wouldn't hear about much people this season apart from this one guy. Ooh, actually, what am I saying? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 23, 4 and 5. So there's some solid numbers, really are. If I were to look at anyone else in the team, if you would say name 3 players from the OKC, I would struggle a little bit. There's Dort, he's okay. He's nothing special. George Hill, I believe, got traded away. You know, I think they're also a team in a bit of tatters. They just need to aim for the bottom of the conference at the moment. They're definitely in a very much explosive state, but I feel like OKC have a fairly alright management. Well, okay management. Maybe they can rebuild. I don't know. Maybe. But again, it's a one-man team really over there in OKC. Number 24, the Toronto Raptors, another team that's been performing absolutely awful. I don't know why, I can't explain it. They were very okay last season, 3rd or 4th last year? So I don't know what, they just fallen off a cliff. Ever since they won the NBA Championship, Kawhi's fecked off. I mean, there's been not much left to look at, to be honest. OG Anunoby, he's kind of made a name for himself, 14 points, 5 and 1. Look, it's okay, but it's nothing special. He still is a great defensive player. Kyle Lowry, who's looking for a way out, 17 and 5 and 8, 7 this season. I mean, if you look at any other player going at his age, well, that's fair enough, but it's Kyle Lowry we're talking about here. He won a fucking NBA Championship with his team. Why is he not doing better? That's the real question. Pascal Siakam, he's doing great. He's doing okay, 20.7 and 4. But we want to be seeing a little bit more. If I were to choose my best player, it would probably be between those two lads. Even Fred VanVleet, 24 and 6. And I will say, you know, they've all been having good seasons. Well, they should be having better seasons. I would say out of those 3 players, I would rate Fred VanVleet the most this season. I mean, Siakam was on a great last season. I just think they need to slightly pick up the numbers. There's a no-brainer that there's a team in there, but maybe it's Kyle Lowry is just opted out or something. But anyways, I would say Fred VanVleet at the moment is their best player. Cleveland Cavaliers, there's a team in there somewhere. I don't know. Andre Drummond, 13 rebounds and 2 assists for that guy. And you don't really talk about him this season, but damn, that is not bad. 12, 9 and 1 for Jared Allen. And Colin Sexton with 24 points, 2 rebounds and 4 assists. Who would I say is their best player though out of those 3? That's interesting. I probably would say Colin Sexton. He's an exciting player to watch. He's doing some decent numbers. He's an up-and-comer. And I just think, you know, the other 2 scream boring. He screams excitement. Number 26, the Washington Wizards. This one's a no-brainer. You could say, oh, Russell Westbrook, actually a great player. 21, 9 and 10. That's not bad. That's nearly a triple-double. That's literally on the doorstep of triple-double. But the things he has been doing wrong, he's probably been holding his team back a little bit, weirdly enough, with his defense and his poor play. This guy, Bradley Beal, though, 31 points, 5 and 4. Also having a great season, to be honest, on the offensive end. And I would have to say Bradley Beal is probably the best player. Like 31 points a game. That is elite stuff. And it can't be overlooked, really. It's weird that the Washington are doing this badly. They probably need someone besides Russell, because I don't think Russell is the way forward. He's over 30 now. I think you need to cash in him now while he's still worth some value, and pair something else with Bradley Beal. Maybe just build for the future. Obviously, get maybe a top 5 pick in the draft, and that'll be cool. Orlando Magic obviously recently just passed off Vucevic. So, guess this is going to be a hard one to find out who the best player is. They also got rid of Evan Fournier. He was averaging 93 and 3 for their team. So this is a really awkward one. Do I go with Markelle Fultz, 12, 3 and 5? That might have to be the case, because even though those numbers are pretty poor, there is not another player. Cole Anthony, possibly 11, 4 and 3. I just want to see who the hell Orlando got, because their squad is absolutely depleted right now, and you would hope they get the number 1 pick in the draft at this current moment in time, which they probably might not even get. Knowing Orlando is not a team steeped in, current success in the last few years. Really, if we look at it honestly, lads, if we look at it, it was a 4-person trade deal. Let's see. Wendell Carter and Otto Porter. God, I don't know anything much about those guys. Wendell Carter, he's a meh, okay player. Otto Porter, yeah, he's okay. I would still say Markelle Fultz would edge it right there. He used to be exciting open prospect. He's not a bad little player. He just needs to sort himself out and just get to the next level. And I'm not sure if he will have the ability to. Detroit Pistons, number 28. Oh God, another tough team against Jeremy Grant. He's having a very good season. 23, 5 and 2. Reborn. He was still solid at Denver again, but he probably wanted more success. And you know what? He's gone out and gotten it. Well, not more success, but more playing time, more individual accolades. There's also Mason Plumlee, 10, 9 and 3. I still think you couldn't really overlook that guy. That is, yes, Jeremy Grant. He took the worst team, but he took the playing time. Maybe this could move him onto their team, or I just don't see Detroit having much success in any time in the future. It's Detroit Pistons. Come on, lads. If you really want to get together Jeremy Grant, you're still in your prime of your career, maybe seek another move. Or I believe he just wanted to bring success. He wanted to be under the management of black management in this time of Black Lives Matter and all. Detroit is a very black city, so maybe that was the whole point of it. I think it might be being a big deal of it, actually. So I kind of respect that more than a sporting decision. But he will be an inspiration for people at Detroit, hopefully. And I just think he's a energetic, exciting player. So I rate him. Next up, the Houston Rockets. They're the number 29 on this list. Oh dear, this is a shithouse of a team if I've ever seen one. There's Daniel House Jr., there's Dante Exum for some reason. He used to play for Utah. DJ Augustine. What a weird squad. Honestly, it's such an odd squad. Victor Oladipo recently got traded away. So we can't even go, Victor Oladipo, what a baller he is. Kevin Porter Jr. has been having good numbers, 14, 2 and 6, so he could be within a shout. John Wall, pretty okay season, 21, 3 and 6. I still would probably say out of those two, Kevin Porter. There's also 21, 9 and 1 for Christian Wood. I just want to see who Oladipo got traded for. Oladipo, of course, went to... He got lucky. He got out of that shitstorm. And he went to... Miami. That's a really good trade from Miami. Miami are looking really sexy with the likes of Jimmy Butler, man, and Victor Oladipo. That's going to be really nice. And Anunoby. But yeah, they're going to be a nice team, to be honest. God, I envy them at the moment, but I still think Denver are doing well for themselves. Yes, so Oladipo has been traded. Yeah, I still would say I'd probably stick with Kevin Porter as their best player at the moment. Yeah, he's already moved twice, so Oladipo's on the move. Fucking hell. Hold on 1 second, people. Vucevic. Where the hell? Who the hell went to? Okay, I don't know. I'll try to explain this one. But Victor Oladipo is no longer part of this team. Right, okay, well, anyways, I just said Kevin Porter, so I'm going to stick with him. At number 30, Minnesota Timberwolves. Who the hell is their best player? Anthony Edwards, 16, 4 and 2. Not too bad, to be honest, being a good inside player. There's also Malik Beasley, 24 and 2. Remember, he's played for the Denver Nuggets. A lot of role players in the Denver Nuggets, really. Yeah, I would probably say it's between Anthony Edwards. D'Angelo Russell has really gone down, 19, 2 and 5. You would expect him to be doing slightly better than that. Okogie, no. Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be Anthony Edwards or Malik Beasley. At the moment, I'd say Malik Beasley. He's been having a really strong season. Great, plus 20 points a year. It's decent, man. It's decent. So there you go, guys. There is my look at every single NBA team and their best player. I might do the Premier League next week. That was kind of exciting, but it was a bit tiring at the same time. Like, I spent a long time looking at that list and just going through those names. See, that's been an interesting one. Yeah, and I rate that. So anyways, I'm going to get into another news segment here, and that was the whole David Dobrik drama. Of course, a former member of the Vlog Squad was accused of rape, and it was Dom's, I don't know how to pronounce his surname, but he was known as Dirty Dom on the Vlog Squad back in the day. And this is obviously an insanely serious matter, and I think it was brought up thanks to H3H3. So yeah, I believe David Dobrik there was a vlog that featured one of the victims, and at the time, she agreed to it, but she basically felt she had to, and of course, later on, she admitted it, she said it, and what happened, and yeah, he immediately took down the log, but again, he severed ties, but apparently there was rumors that Dom had some issues in the past, sexual assault issues, and that David should have been, aware of this, and therefore severed ties years earlier. But it's kind of an interesting one. I do feel fairly bad for David at the moment. A lot of his brands have cut out on him, all down to basically his childhood friend, basically lying to him about what happened and all. So it's a very murky waters at the moment. There's been a lot being said, a lot being thrown around, but at the moment it's just it's a cesspit of justice needs to be had, though. I think Dom needs to be, he needs to something to happen to him here, because he can't be let off free with this. This is a really serious issue, so hopefully it gets sorted, and hopefully the victims receive some sort of, we're all focusing on David, of course, and in the situation, really, but of course the victims are the one that we should be focusing on, seeing what we can do for them, to be honest. Feel very bad for the multiple victims, I believe, the main victim and other victims, of course. So again, it's weird, because the vlogs, that was a big part of my life. I used to watch their videos, enjoy them so much, and I can't, that's kind of just murked the whole thing. Like, it used to be such a fun experience watching them. Of course, during the coronavirus pandemic, that all stopped anyways, but before then it was such a big thing, and now of course David moved to TikTok and all, and it hasn't been the same even since then. But of course, I'm not saying that David can't rebuild from this. I do think he can. I just think it'll be a lot of it's going to be a lot of struggle for him from now on. I do think he can rise above this. I just think he's going to have to clarify everything, and he's going to have to be more careful in the future what he does, who he befriends. He has to trust people. The people he puts trust in, he needs to vet them. He needs to know their full background. He needs to know everything about the people he's with. And you know what? He just needs to take more precautions in the future, honestly. Don't be reckless. You got to learn from these things. If he does a similar mistake in the future, I will not have the same sort of patience and understanding as I have now. Do you know what I mean? So I do have a bit of sympathy for him, Jeff Wittick, those guys. But again, you got to move forward. You got to fix these issues and sort of, overcome this. So yeah, there you go. So that was a downer of a news story. To pick up with, we'll just cover the downers first, because coronavirus in Ireland, where I currently live, has not improved recently. It's kind of stalled a little bit, stagnated. The cases are, around 500, possibly 600. Deaths are low, which is good. Great, thank God. But cases are just high, and it's no wonder with even St. Patrick's Day just passed, the streets full of people out in groups, big groups. So I do sympathise a little bit with people who have been the whole time have been locked up in their houses, and they've still been following the rules. 6 months on since basically we've been solid lockdown for that whole time. I do feel the lockdown probably isn't as effective as it could be. It's a very soft lockdown. It's not a very police lockdown. Even if it was going to be a proper lockdown, you might as well make it official, proper. I was always one of these people that opted for, if we were going to do this originally with the big lockdown, we should have gone in all in like Australia, maybe 2 or 3 months of extreme lockdown rather than 6 months of relaxed lockdown, shall we call it. And they've only just cracked down on the, people coming into the country, what am I saying here? People coming into the country, sort of. Oh my god, it's sleeting outside. What the fuck? It was literally sunny about 10 minutes ago, and now it is full on sleeting outside. This is mad. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm texting my friend there. It's literally sleeting outside. What the fuck? By the way, I'm recording this in the middle of the day. I usually record these at night, but oh my god. This is mad. Hopefully that stops soon. Looks like a shower, hopefully. Hopefully we get a bit of sun later. But yeah, I was planning to meet my mates today for a little, oh, it's so sunny out. Of course, coming up to the time where we're supposed to meet up, it is proper bucketing down. Oh god. Hopefully it improves big time. And what was I saying? Oh yes. So yeah, coronavirus, it's stagnated a little bit. I'm really not happy with how it's gone, to be honest. I think the whole Christmas time, let's meet up for 2 weeks. That was the hugest mistake the government could ever have made. And we're seeing the ramifications 6 months on. Don't get me wrong, though. I do think that the whole lockdown thing, it should have been enforced harder, especially at the airports where there's lots of tourists coming in, bringing the virus into the country unpoliced and not being locked down for 2 weeks. But now they're finally introducing it well too late. Like, this should have happened at least 6 months ago, possibly 9 or 12 months ago, maybe 9 months ago, again, after a few months of planning it. But come on, how did this take 12 months? It doesn't make any sense. Also, our vaccine rollout has gone slow. Again, this is probably partly due to the EU, but again, last Sunday we only recorded about 300 vaccinations. I do think this probably will improve, but it's taking way too long, and I'm just not happy. So coronavirus in Ireland, yeah, it's been stagnated slowly, and just get better, please. Get better. Right, one last little topic I wanted to cover, and that is a little review, and that is of GeoWizard. He's a YouTuber on the internet, and he is probably my favourite YouTuber at the moment. I just binge watched all of his real life geography videos recently, and basically what he does is he walks in a straight line across the country. I think I just previously mentioned this on the show, where he walked across Wales. He did it twice, once on his own, once with his mate. Unfortunately, he failed both times, spoilers, but he also did a Norway one which he completed, great, and he also did across Europe with his mate. So hiking, and I love this guy's style of videos. His narration is amazing. He's funny lad, and you know what? He's just fun, playful videos, and you need them in this time of sort of depression and bad news and very little good news. Although we are moving to summer, so hopefully that will improve. I kind of highly doubt that though. But yeah, I just think he's a real bright, shining light in this otherwise dark world. And he's also planning to do a new Luxembourg, I think a new Scotland one, and maybe a Luxembourg one in the future. Basically, small countries that you can train across. It's just inspiring as well. I can't wait till the barriers open up. I can walk longer distances and get out there, get active, and just embrace nature once again. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, he's just been a great YouTuber, and he's just such a joy to watch his videos. Like, you watch them on 3 or 4 days. So great guy. So shout out to him. He's probably got enough attention already, but great guy anyways, and appreciate the videos. I usually do a music spotlight this week. I've kind of been listening to the same sort of music this week. I'm trying to think of a singer or a songwriter that I will listen to a lot this week. I guess GeoWizard is his own artist name, which is Amynedd. Some really nice music under his name, Amynedd. Amynedd. Yeah, he just produces some great music out there. Just like relaxing, nostalgic, and vintage, and retro, and it's all video gaming music nearly. So I do rate that. So yeah, that's pretty much been it for me for this week. Besides that, just been doing work for college. But yeah, it's been a fun time. Don't really cut this one too long. Again, the thing is, I try to strike a balance between content on these podcasts and also energy and life and real quality. And I don't want to go too long, stretch these things out too much. So I think I'm going to leave it at that, guys. So for without further ado, thanks guys for listening. This has been episode 3 of Tim Talks Podcast, and I'll talk to you guys later. Good luck.